Where's the meeting at?
Good morning, everybody. So we're not on Zoom. I know sometimes we think we're supposed to stay at home and be on Zoom, but we're not. Unfortunately, now that have the emergency order has been lifted, we can't meet on Zoom if it's elected officials meeting, and so it's too many of us at the meetings to be Zooming. And I see that Commissioner Jacobs is on the. She gets to be on Zoom.
She's on the
She's
bus.
out of town.
She's on the travel bus.
So, if we want to, why don't we have everyone introduce themselves, and then we'll get started. And I'll start to my left here, and we'll do the introductions.
Good morning. My name is Wanda Page, and I'm the Durham City Manager.
Good morning. I'm Kimberly Rayberg, and I'm the Durham City Attorney.
Morning, I'm Nitha Alam, Commissioner on the Durham County Board of Commissioners.
Good morning. Sorry. Good morning. I'm Damian Talley. I'm the Executive Director of the Durham Crisis Response Center.
Good morning, everyone. Kim Sowell, Durham County Manager.
Good morning, everyone. Al Andrews, Durham County Attorney.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Deidreana Freeman, Durham City Council.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Elaine O'Neill, Mayor, City of Durham.
Yours truly, and we'll go over here.
Good morning, Deborah Craig Ray, Chief Communications Officer.
Good morning, Maurice Jones, Deputy County Manager.
Good morning, Julio Delgado, Assistant County Manager.
Good morning, Tammy Hall, Assistant County Manager. Good morning.
Shannon Trapp, Chief of Staff for Durham County.
Thank you.
Good morning, Keith Chadwell, Deputy City Manager.
Good morning, Bertha Johnson, Deputy City Manager.
Good morning, Bo Ferguson, Deputy City Manager.
Thank you. So I'm Brenda Howerton, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners, and this morning we have very few items. We started out with more, and they have been deleted from the agenda, so this should be a very, very short meeting. Minutes to be approved from the October 11th, 2022 meeting.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's approved. Item here, number 2, Durham Crisis Response Center update. And we have the executive director here that will share some comments about what's going on with the center. And one of the reasons that we wanted to have this conversation, I've gotten a call about this center, and our manager too, really want to know what's going on. So could you share some insight about this? And welcome.
I speak low, so I'll try to make sure I bring this to me. Which specific insights would you like?
Excuse me, Mr. Talley, if you can just speak a little louder into the mic so that you can be heard online.
Which specific insights would you like?
Well, we want to know what's going on with the center, what's happening with financially, and there may be some other questions, but whatever it is that you would like to share with us, and then any questions that the board may and members may want to ask.
Awesome. So specifically, I joined the agency January 23rd, 2023. And since that time, I've been in a hurry to kind of get things as organized as I possibly can. There has been some challenges in regards to getting our financial situation straightened out due to grant requirements, which primarily has to do with hiring staff more than anything due to how our grants are written. So I've quickly and hurriedly been able to get key individuals hired to ensure that all of our services and all our grant requirements are in place. The shelter, which has been closed for quite a while, we finished renovations probably 2 weeks ago on it. We're currently working to hire a few more relief staff just to ensure that all safety requirements and obligations are met or in place to open the shelter. So that should be occurring soon, within the next few weeks, if anything. The Family Justice Center, which, as I understand, has been in the works for a while, its grand opening will be later this month, April 24th, 2023 at 10 a.m. And I hope all of you can be there.
Okay, thank you. Questions, concerns?
April 24th, 2023, 10 a.m., the day after my mom's birthday.
Just for clarity, are you saying that something's going on with your 990, or there's something a little bit more than that?
No, nothing going on with our 990. No. When I speak about our financial situation, I think due to a number of, and this, before I got there, a number of staff transitions that kind of hindered our ability, or DCRC's ability to meet certain grant requirements. Specifically, just how the grants are written. We say we have a case manager who's supposed to be doing this, and that case manager is not there. Just by the very nature of how the grants are written, we are not meeting the obligations that our grant set out. So it's been a matter of quickly trying to get those necessary people in place and trying to restructure our grants to a more stable situation, writing them to the actual service that we're providing instead of to staff.
And just to follow up, who's the current chair of the board?
The current chair of the board is Jimmy Anderson. And the vice chair is Dr. Carolyn Moore.
So I think the community has some confusion about the center in that they think the county is responsible for it. So I would like some clarity around, because it's never been, you have a board, it's a nonprofit.
I think it pretty much has to do with the name of the agency itself. That kind of causes confusion. We often get calls from the mental health provider here. I think it's the Durham Crisis Center, and the fact that it's the Durham Crisis Response Center in Durham County. Some people just assume that it's that, but also because I don't feel that previous staff, previous EDs have done a well enough job to kind of promote and clarify those circumstances. I intend during my tenure here to make sure that it's fully aware that Durham Crisis Response Center and the Durham County Board of Commissioners and Durham County as Durham City are partners, but have separations in that regard.
So is the city
Well, if not,
I guess, and that's one of the confusion, is that it's been assumed that it's a city function, and it's not.
it's not.
So, yeah, I see Wendy, I see you. Let me just finish my question, and I'll come to you. So you're saying it's never been a city under the city?
No, ma'am. and the fact that we're one of the only agency that in this county and city that does what we do. So if we're the only agency that does what we do partner in some regards, not directly with the city, but like we work with closely with Durham Police Department, Durham County Sheriff's Department, all of those things. I can understand why there's confusion, but at the same time, as I said, it's previous administration's job to kind of clarify those things, to eliminate those confusions so that people know who they can come to and why they're coming to them.
Yeah, I think we really need some clarification there because I'm getting calls about what's going on. And, you know, when citizens start calling you, they want you to do something about it. And I'm befuddled because I don't know where we are. And now with Justice Family Center that we are funding, there's probably going to be even more confusion for the community as to what role the county plays, what role the city plays.
Well, I think discussions like this in the public forum will go a long way, and I'm open to having as many of these as necessary to clarify what Durham Crisis Response Center's role in the community is, and how, not disconnected, but how you aren't responsible for us, so that the county and the citizens are aware of who they need to contact. They need to be reaching out to me and my staff if there are any issues or concerns.
So when they call me, I just need to call you.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Because we are responsible for our citizens, and when they are in trouble, we need to know where to direct them, not just say, that's not my responsibility.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't suggest that. But you can absolutely reach out to me. I don't have cards yet, but I'll give you my contact information, so if there are any concerns, they can be directed to me and I can address them. Because if I'm not getting those concerns, I don't know what to address with my staff either.
Thank you. Commissioner Jacobs is on the line.
Hi, and I'm sorry, I'm at the airport on my way to Kansas, but I just want to say to welcome to the new director.
Thank you.
And really look forward to your leadership and helping to get things back on track with the Durham Crisis Response Center, because it really plays such an important role in our community. I mean, you are the domestic violence shelter in our community and provide so many important resources for families and for people in our community. So, also just let us know, how we can support you moving forward. I did want to say, I heard, I was going through security, but it sounded like that the Family Justice Center is opening on April 24th. Is that correct?
It is, and I hope you can make it.
Yeah, please let us all know, city council members and county commissioners, if you could send us information about that opening, because this is a joint project of the city and the county. The county is providing that building, and the city provided funding for renovations. So this is truly a joint project, and I know that everyone, staff and elected officials, would like to be there and to learn more about what's going to be happening there. So I also encourage you to invite all the stakeholders that are important partners, DSS and public health and the people over at the courthouse. I know a lot of people will want to learn about it and also be supportive.
Absolutely.
But that's all I really wanted to say, and I look forward to meeting you in person. Thank you.
Look forward to it as well. One of the,
I was just going to ask you and welcome in your new role, and I was just going to ask you if you would clarify exactly what you all do and the Family Justice Center, if you could tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. The Durham Crisis Response Center, in totality, is a domestic violence and sexual assault services agency. In those functions, we operate a 24-hour English crisis line and a 24-hour Spanish crisis line. We also operate a 24-hour shelter, which, as I stated, is currently just finished its renovations, which were long overdue, way before I got here. So we just completed those, and it should be opening up in the near future. I want to give a date now because it will be public record, and I don't need those problems right now. But it'll be opening soon. Currently, we're housing individuals who are seeking shelter in various hotels around Durham County and the city. We also offer counseling services, case management, currently rapid rehousing services, and through our Family Justice Center, which is, as y'all both stated, a joint partnership between the city and the county. Legal services where we offer legal advocacy. Individuals come and put in protective orders, file protective orders, have court appointments. We're not lawyers, and so but they also, it's helpful to have someone in court with you while you're going through those circumstances who may be able to understand a little bit of the legalese that is stated there. So we try to cover all the bases there, but those are our primary functions.
Commissioner Long.
Great to meet you, Damien.
Thank you.
I remember a few years ago when I was on the Council for Women over on the city side, DCRC had come to that board for support. One of the things y'all were looking to do was having a space within the courthouse to meet with clients. I think you had a space, but it was like basically like a closet.
We have a much larger space now.
Okay, that's good. I wanted to just see, has that space been secured?
Yeah. If y'all will indulge me, I'd love to give y'all some updates on what even though I wasn't there, this is just data that I pulled, but I felt like it would be helpful to provide y'all information for the last year so that y'all know what we have been up to. Last year, DCRC sheltered 113 women and their children, and the English crisis line answered upward of 2,000 crisis calls. We provided advocacy and case management to upwards of 350 individuals. We also have like a rape prevention education coordinator who goes out to different schools and teaches students about consent and all the necessary items so that they're prepared for the real world when they go out there. Immigrant Services provided 197 bilingual counseling sessions, answered 508 calls to the Spanish crisis line, and through this program provided 15 Latinx women and their children shelter. Overall, Immigrant Services served up to 465 individuals throughout the year. Last year, the Family Justice Center served in totality through various services like legal advocacy, filing protective orders, 1,169 individuals. The LAP program, which is the lethality assessment where individuals, law enforcement will call our specified line with particular cases that could prove lethal if not addressed quickly. And we answered 715 of those calls.
So during COVID, the numbers did escalate.
A bit. As a lot of agencies will. So yeah, we've maintained, and I want to be clear because I think one of the issues that DCRC has faced is that during these past few years, before I got here, I want to be clear of that. I started January 23rd, but
we got it.
But to be clear that DCRC has faced challenges, no different than any other nonprofit, especially crisis service agency in the country right now. And we are working diligently and as quickly as possible to address all those concerns. DCRC has a strong financial standing. All of our grants we are currently in compliance with. We do have some work to do. They're still hiring.
Say that.
There's still things that have to be done, and that's why I'm here, to address those things. And it is my hope that we can increase the partnership between myself, the county, and the city to ensure that we're providing the necessary services that Durham overall needs, and that Durham Crisis Response Center has always been for this community.
Another question has to do with the relationship between the crisis center and the folks that work, I don't know if they work in the post, they work somewhere in the post system. So what's happening, or do we know?
You mean with the clerk's office? Is that what you mean?
Maybe it's the clerk's office.
I think one of
I receive calls.
I think one of the confusions has been, like you stated, sometimes people feel that just because we're a certain place and due to our name that we are an extension of those projects. Like some people think that we work for the court just because we have offices at the courthouse. So, oftentimes people will complain to the city or to the county, or I don't know which one runs the court. I'm not from Durham, so. But, okay, the state. And sometimes they'll make complaints or they'll address issues to those functions rather than, again, coming to me so that I can properly address like whatever concerns they've had. I've worked as quickly and as often as possible to try to clarify those things. And like I said, I think forums like this will provide the necessary information to the citizens of Durham to who they need to direct those to. So I'm looking forward to having many more of these conversations if necessary. And I feel like to address that with the Family Justice Center leaving the courthouse and moving to its own location, that will help clarify that too, because we're not in that building anymore.
Well, we're glad you're here and welcome. Hopefully it'll alleviate me getting pulled in the center of stuff that I need and not knowing who to give it to.
Yeah, you can give it to me. Like in small doses, though. Just like,
Okay, Mr. Jacobs. You had your hand up?
I just had another follow-up question just about the Family Justice Center. Could you talk about what other services will be located there? Because I know Commissioner Howerton and I were part of the group that visited the center in Greensboro and that years ago, and that was part of our real inspiration and motivation to open a center in Durham. And you know, the model there was just co-location of every kind of possible service that women and children and families might need, like one-stop shop. So if you could tell us, I know we'll see more at the ribbon cutting, but what are the partners that you currently have there, or that you know maybe you don't have them now but plan to have? If you could tell us a little bit about that.
absolutely. So for me, the goal when I came in, I had three main goals: to get the shelter open, to get our crisis line completely covered so that people have those resources, and to get our Family Justice Center open. I'm aware that there were a number of discussions and that this has been a years-long process to get this open. So we're starting with the basics. We have legal aid, who has always been a partner with us, and ourselves, who will be there. I intend to move more of DCRC services into the Family Justice Center so that they're readily available, like immigrant services, things of that nature. And the Durham Crisis Sheriff's Department, See, even I'm doing it. The Durham County Sheriff's Department. So those are the current ones, and as we move forward, the goal of the director that I hired is that within the next few years we'll outgrow that space with so many partners, people wanting to do everything there. I'd love to have the Housing Authority have an office there. I don't know what it is here, but DCS, Children's Services and whatnot in that space. All of those services would be great, and I think that would kind of address that, having that one-stop shop where individuals can come and get whatever services they need.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying, and I'm going to go to you, Commissioner Lum, about the children. One of the things that we saw in Greensboro was how they had a space for the children to be, and I know that's in the making for you since you just started. But they had a space for to take care of the children when the moms come.
Absolutely. Yeah. And while we don't have necessarily a children's space right now, that is something that I'd like to incorporate in the future. But separate from the court, children can be with their parents for the most part. If they're doing certain activities, they can be right outside the door. We have space where they can be safely, and they don't have to worry about leaving their kids wildly unattended while they're running to. Yeah.
Commissioner Lum?
I just have a few quick things. For your 2022 stats, I tried to type them as you're speaking. I may have missed some. Can you email all of those to us so we know? Thank you. And also around the bilingual and immigrant services, I'm not sure if you're familiar, the city and county actually jointly funded an immigrant and refugee services coordinator role. So Nayo is in that role, and he is really amazing. I would love for you to be able to get connected with him.
Absolutely.
To see how we can better serve our immigrant and refugee community.
I'll send you this information. You send me Niles.
Perfect. I'll do that. And the last one, this also is kind of a question also for our attorneys, Attorney Andrews, Attorney Rayberg. I know there's some federal grants available around housing for individuals who, for women who are victims of domestic violence, that there are grants available for nonprofits to apply to when they have a partnership with a city or county government to provide vouchers for housing. Is that something that we could look into with our partners that we have in this space of applying to these type of grants to provide vouchers for victims of domestic violence?
Commissioner Alam, not exactly familiar with the details of the program, but why don't you and I work together to chase down where you think you may have seen that or where you heard that, and then we'll do the necessary research to send something out to the whole group about the specific requirements. As a general matter, we won't be applying, but we'll clarify for the group what the specific rules are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
To add to that and whatnot, I don't know how things are. Like, I've just been in Durham since January 23rd, so I started and hit the ground running. But I'm from Nashville. Well, I'm from Tennessee. And before this role, I was the Vice President of Domestic Violence Services for the YWCA in Nashville. And in there, we had a program similar to what you're speaking of. We had a domestic violence separate coordinated entry system that worked in tandem with and kind of allocated federal funds that way. So I'm familiar with what you're speaking of.
No, I'm just going to say that. Okay. This is one of those things that I know it must be your ministry to be involved in this kind of work. I'll never forget attending one of the functions, and as I read the names, the one that struck me the most. I just will never forget that feeling of domestic violence, a 95-year-old woman. What the crap?
Yeah.
So to do that kind of work has to be profound.
It is. It has personal meaning for me and whatnot. I think my mom being a survivor, I had at 13, I had a cousin who was murdered, and while I was vice president of DV at the YWCA, I had my first cousin, Sabrina Benson, who was murdered by her abuser. initially kind of took me out of it. It was too surreal to be in the circumstances. Like, how can I be out in the community talking about how you can protect people while this happened in my own family? But I think ultimately, it's like you said, it's something that I feel called to, something that I feel like if I did more, or if I worked together with community partners like yourself and Mayor O'Neill, then we can really address those circumstances. My goal is to work myself out of a job if I can.
Thank you. Anything else for anybody?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I wish I had typed them up. I should have.
Thank you. Anything else for you, Mayor? Okay. All right, we don't have a huge agenda, as I said, because a couple of items were removed from our agenda. The other two things are and thank you again so much for being here. Yeah. And,
Were you politely putting me out?
You can stay. Well, you just hear me talk briefly. Okay.
All right.
Thanks
Thank you all so much for your time.
Yeah.
Anytime y'all need me to come back and clarify anything.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
The other two things are coordination of summer opportunities for youth and affordable housing is the other partnership. So, Mayor.
All right. Thank you, my chair. I appreciate you all this morning. I promise I will not take 10 minutes for these two things. They're basically updates. There is another joint committee of the county commissioners, the city of Durham, and the Durham Board of Education, and a subcommittee of that Brenda and I sit on, our chair sit on. We have been working with our staff to come up with what we will hope will be a coordinated effort for the three governmental entities over the summer for our children, for our youth and teens. I'm looking at, I know the people on the internet, but people in the audience, at this nice, bright-looking logo that's going to go out pretty soon. We only have a draft of it right now, but you'll start to see some advertisements, start to see some of our young people take part in helping to promote that. And the idea is just that we want for our youth, teens, and parents and caregivers to know what the three governmental entities will be offering this summer for opportunities. And we hope to have that coordinated to a point where you can click on any of our websites and you will be directed to what we all have, the menu of things. So stay tuned for that. That is I didn't take 5 minutes, did I? Great.
Yeah, don't go away from that yet.
Okay. Go ahead.
Shannon is working with our youth, right? To ensure that all of that information, and I don't know who on the city side that she's working with.
I want to say.
So, Mayor, I haven't shared this with you because I haven't had time, but I got a call this morning, and this is the third call that I've gotten, and it's just really messing with me. I'm getting calls about our youth. Okay. Yeah, I can't even go there without getting emotional. They are calling us on account that we need to do more to take care of our children this summer. So they're saying that we're not stepping up. So it's what more can we do? If it means resources, what does it mean that we need to do to ensure that we don't constantly wake up in the morning with another child dead?
Well, I know that the public may not see it all, but there's been a lot of work going on behind scenes in terms of what the governments are able to provide as opportunities for the summer. So let me take a little moment to kind of delve into what exactly we have been doing. So as a part of that subcommittee, along with our relevant staff who work in that area, we decided that we would focus on opportunities for our middle school and high school populations. According to the public schools, we know we have approximately 18,000 young people in that age range. That is public schools only, right? So we're not considering private schools or charter schools, and you know we have a number of those here. So what we've decided to try to do is to see what we have, what's in our wheelhouse, what can we control. Now, with 18,000 young people this summer, that's a lot of young people, but it's time that we kind of figure out how we approach what we're going to do for the urgency of now, which would be this summer, and then going forward. So from that, we have figured out that approximately Durham Public Schools will be able to touch approximately 5,000 young people this summer about that through summer school and other activities that they have in that age range, keeping in mind that we do have some opportunities basically from Durham Public Schools, of course, for our younger kids. And that seems to be not where the gap is. The real gap is middle to high school. So within the city's wheelhouse, we offer about 450 to 500 jobs this summer. Last summer, we would anticipate doing that again, but that's just the Youth Works program. We also offer some opportunities from Durham Parks and Recreation as well. However, you see where the gap is. Now, you know the county, they fund the schools, but they don't really offer first-hand services or direct services to young people other than through maybe the libraries, right? And of course, they are tangentially related to the Museum of Arts and Sciences. Very small number, though, very small number. So we have a very big gap there because we're talking about your government may touch about 6,000 or 7,000 young people altogether, but we still have a deficit of, we know, over 10,000. Okay, so what do we do with that? The main thing that we can do, and this, I'll say it until I can't say it anymore, your resources for managing those types of numbers are not within your government. It's got to come from the private sector. In other words, it's got to come from the community. So what are we doing? We have about 4,000 nonprofits, including churches, is what I'm told. So what we're trying to do is to have a way where we can align our nonprofits by neighborhoods so that we know what they are offering this summer. Do you have a Bible study, a youth camp? Are you running summer programs in some of our, and we have a lot of organizations who are running some summer programming in some of our low-wealth communities. But the city and the county, we don't know who they are. So, and because we are operating, most of our services that your governments provide are not in direct services, especially from the city. It's not there. We are brick and mortar. The county has a lot more, but tangentially. So it behooves us not to look for your government for answers for this summer. It's not going to happen. That's just not even realistic. We have to find a way to align our community, and we need the community's help in doing so because we, too, are struggling with how we are going to align ourselves. So we cannot take on that responsibility as well. So what we're looking for, and hopefully I've talked to someone who may be willing to fund a person who will come in and help us do what we call a roll call of nonprofit organizations, where you actually come in and you tell us what you're doing, where you're doing it, what's your capacity for this summer, so that we can have a baseline for information, like I said, the urgency of now, this summer, and going forward. So we're doing, and there's always room to do more. That's never going to stop as long as we are dealing with the situations that we have at hand. But rest assured that we are not sitting back. It's not happening. I talked to Brenda at least 2 to 3 times a week. She called me just yesterday saying, I haven't talked to you over the weekend. You know, so we are constantly in communication about what we're doing, and that's true, I think, beyond what she and I are doing, but others as well. We've been working with people within Durham Public Schools, and also I am not the only one. Deidreana can speak for herself. Also, our city manager and our attorneys are here. You know, we are in those spaces. So let's be assured that we're doing all that we know to do at this point and moving along. But yes, there's more to be done, and we will not stop until our children are no longer dying in the streets.
So let me ask you, our attorney question, because, you know, sometimes I run out, I get ready to do stuff that I have to get legal advice on. Because one of the things that the people that are calling me state is that they can't get resources from the county or the city to do things that they need to do because it takes money to get the kids to a park or wherever they want to take them. It takes money, it takes food. They got to buy food for the kids. So they don't have the money. And given that the county normally does provide activity, like it's always been Parks and Rec and that kind of thing, but there's such a call for us to do more. So, you know, about now, I'm about ready to hit up folks in the community. You need to give up some money. I want you to give up some money to give these kids. So, how do I do that and not get into trouble?
Well,
I'll call them. You need to give up some money. You know, quite frankly, this is what it is. You say you care about our children in this community. You need to give up some money. So, help me out here because I'm like sitting on the edge of the seat right now about to make some phone calls.
Sure, Madam Chair and Madam Chair of the City Council. You can create a structure. It wouldn't help to just have people, you know, request people to donate money. They don't have a place for it to reside in an accountable fashion. And people can donate money to government for causes. I think the tax rules will allow that, but it would need to find a residence or a place for it to go. So we either need to find an existing structure with a fund that the money can be used for, and we can public-private partnership an organization, or, you know, you certainly can use tax dollars under the statute to use for youth programs. And maybe we need to identify a youth program jointly or separately that can be the recipient and that can create a model that provides for, say, transportation. You can do a transportation program. It's typically placed in the recreation and parks function of a city, although some counties in the state do have those programs as well. But the best, I think, would be to identify that, to get it stood up correctly, and then to direct public charity toward those funds directly, not pass through you or pass through the county specifically, but to go directly to that program. And we'll certainly get back with you on the exact structure. I think where we can work together is if you all can think of an existing something that we have or a location that we can either buttress, or if there is not one, that we can create that, and you can establish a board if you want, just like we do boards and commissions, to oversee that or to be advisory in that regard, or you don't have to. You can do, staff can do it. The vehicles that are used can either be leased or they can be existing motor pool vehicles. If they are going to be our vehicles, we assume the liability that's associated with it. But we can absolutely do what you want. I just would prefer you not to just, as you know, just go out tomorrow and say, give us some money. We'll have to, right.
This is what I hear you say. I'm hearing a long-term conversation structure, government structure that will not be in place by the time these kids get out of school.
say? What'd you say? Sorry, I was just saying it could be. I think that there are enough nonprofits in the community that are addressing middle school and high school children that could support, and just making sure that they have funds for motor pools or, or food or whatever else resources they might need. It's just a matter of making the funds available.
Mr. Jacobs, I see.
Yeah, I just first of all want to thank the mayor for your comments and your leadership on this. I think that one of the important first steps is really understanding the resources that we have, not just within our governments, but also the nonprofits and the entire community. I do think we have a lot of youth resources, but one of the problems is that
Wendy.
a lot of people don't know
Wendy.
about them. They're not.
Wendy.
Yes.
You've got
You're
so much
hearing the, sorry.
the noise. It's hard to hear
All
you.
right, let me
Yeah.
turn this off and, sorry.
But I think Commissioner Jacobs, what you're saying is basically the idea of the roll call sort of. We need to determine first what we have. The government is now doing that on our end, but it's the nonprofit community and what's going on out there in just your regular neighborhoods. Who's offering what where? And we need to know that and be able to include that on the websites that we will have. So, but that,
Right, yeah.
and I do think that we can organize, we have enough time, it's just April, to organize that part, and to really, to really put some effort in helping that community organize. However, I do think that this is when I push back on people who are saying you're not doing enough. Then I have to look at them and say, well, what are you doing? Because I'm basically volunteering as mayor on most days, okay? Because this is a part-time job by statute, right? And then, so we could take that a long way. And I think most of us who are in public service, that's what we do. That's what we do as a job, and that's what we're doing outside the community. So that's the last thing. Brenda's real nice about that. I'm not quite so nice in that arena when you say you're not doing enough. I'm going to look at you and say, well, exactly tell me how you spend your day helping our kids. So I have to put it back on them. And so we can't, with the resources, the small resources that you have within a government, in government entities, most of those resources, especially for the city, are not spent in human services. It's just not there. We spend most of our money making sure your streets are clean and your trash is picked up. The bulk of our 2,500 employees you never see because they don't provide direct human services. They're making sure you can turn on your water faucet and get clean water. That's what you want. So Brenda, when you get those phone calls, you need to refer them to me because I can handle that slightly different. Well, you're not in tears. I'm not going to be in tears. So
Mayor,
I'm telling the community it's time for them to step up.
Comes back on. I just want to quickly add to what you said is you're talking about trying to get somebody to help create this database or compile the information. I think that's a great idea about your company now.
What I have, there are a couple of people in the community who have already tried to, who have made contact with our office, with my office, who are interested in helping to do a roll call of nonprofits. However, they need funding. Well, if you know another way that you figure out real quickly when you're dealing with government funds, we just can't write a check. I can't go to the city manager and say, okay, well, can you give 10,000, 50,000 to that? It doesn't work like that. So there's a process by which government funds are expended. That's not so when you deal with people in the private sector in a lot of instances. They are able to write those checks. And they have a lot more people who are able to volunteer hours than we ever have in government. We have 2,500 city employees. So we need some help. We're trying to do our part, but this is when I turn it back and ask the community. We're telling you the government is organizing this summer. We're going to try to be organized to the extent we can to get some baseline data. But we need for the nonprofit community who are providing these services to enter into this arena with us and help us to organize you all. And collaborate.
Yeah.
That's 45, they say it's about 4,000 nonprofits. Now, who's in a better position to kind of, we can bring you all together, but you have to organize yourselves. We don't have that kind of resource to do that. So my patience is very short with people who want to try to tell us that we are not doing enough when there's more people working outside than they're working inside, and we need everybody to step up in this work.
And can I just
Some
jump
is
in
coming.
also speak about what Commissioner Howerton raised? I agree with that idea of, we have folks that donate money to DSS and different things, and we could create a nonprofit, a fund that people in the community could subsidize for kids to go to camp. You know, I believe that there are people in our community that will pay for other children to be able to afford to go. We have wonderful camps in Durham and it's expensive. And there, I believe that there are people in our community that would subsidize and help pay for whether it's at YMC camp or Durham Arts Council camp. There are so many great camps, and people may not be able to afford them. And so if our attorney could work with the city attorney on how we could set up a fund that people could donate to help pay for summer programs for other children in our community.
If I could
I
add
would
to
really
that,
be interested in finding about that.
Commissioner Jacobs, I just want to make sure that we're not cannibalizing our nonprofits. There are a number of them that already have funds set up to accept funding from folks to subsidize camp. And so it'd be better to leave it as such and to make sure that folks know which nonprofits offer those camp services, and then to allow them to receive the funds directly as opposed to getting in the way. And essentially, eating up all that administrative hours and work and dollars. I would also add that Durham Children's Initiative for over 10 years has offered that type of service. The YMCA, Schoolhouse of Wonder, Museum of Life and Science, even the Boys and Girls Club, the Salvation Army, all of them all offer camps at subsidized rates, even for free. And so I think we have the resource, and I think that the mayor has already stated exactly what we need to do, which is to do the roll call and convene the folks who are doing this work, and to make sure, because it's not just a check that needs to be written. There are often organizations and private companies that are willing to offer the resources for free. So whether it's software, whether it's computers, whether it's transportation, all of those things are often available at no cost when folks know where to direct it to. And so I think that roll call convening of all of the resources will be helpful in making sure that people know where to send that money or that resource. And I will add to that I think that, it is April, and our students will be out May and June, and now is the time to get on top of it. And I think that the sense of urgency that Commissioner Howerton, Chair Howerton shared is a matter of, I think there's kind of I know for myself what I heard was a deference to how slowly the government moves in addressing these type of issues, even though we know what we need to do. And so I've said it. I think each of us have said it in some way, shape, or form, and it's just how quickly can our staff and our resources outside of government work to actually come together to actually solve this problem, because it's solvable. Thank you.
Well, I'm just hopeful that we can try and convene a roll call. But, I'll just restate that summer is coming. It's coming really soon. And our nonprofits, if we can figure out how to help them come together to align themselves, that would be, I think, the first step in getting ready for the summer. Okay, so I'm going to continue to work on that. Commissioner Jacobs, if you have any thoughts about people and resources, if we could just get resources just to do the roll call, if we could get that done fairly quickly, I think we can get enough of a support around that to make that go well. And I'd hope that we'd be able to try to get that going within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Our website is already there. The city and the county and the Board of Education, we're moving, I think now to the next stage. I want to say this weekend we'll be having a joint job fair on the 22nd of April, I believe. We're going to have a joint job fair, and so we are steadily moving, and hopefully soon you will begin to see some of the advertisement and communications that the three of us will be putting out about what we have to offer for the summer. I'll now turn our attention briefly to item number 4, which is affordable housing partnerships. I am extremely grateful for the county and all that we've been able to accomplish together, both at the elected level as well as our staff. We are working really well together, and I did want to update you on what we have had as an ask for the county, just to try to make sure y'all keep it on your radar, because the city has already put aside their money for it. We have, when I first became a mayor, I was made aware that the city had done an RFP process for 7 projects and for affordable housing projects, and the city was able to fund 3. However, 4 of them. However, there were a total of 8. I'm looking at all my staff who were raising up numbers and all that. They funded 4, and they are in process right now. But there were 4 that we did not have enough funding for, and we wanted to make sure, and they are shovel ready. And so I want to just put on the record this morning what those 4 housing what we call priority projects for affordable housing that had gone through the city's RFP process and are ready, but we just did not have enough funds to cover it. So the first one is called an East Gear residential developer. It would be approximately near the 2100 block of East Gear Street, approximately 84 new households with incomes between 30% and 80% AMI. They are using a tax credit. And also the second one would be Durham Technical Community College Affordable Housing Initiative. That is going to be located on about 7 acres down on Briggs Avenue, pretty close to the Durham Tech's campus. They're estimated that they will house about 120 plus units, and Durham Tech students, of course, will receive a priority. And then we have the Dearborn Drive multifamily development. It's a total of about 9 acres located near Dearborn and Old Oxford Road. Its location currently houses the Veterans of Foreign Wars Administration Organization. We're talking about, in that particular development, about 200 units, 100 of those units being affordable at the 60% AMI. And they are also going to include what we hope will be a permanent home for the Veterans of Foreign Wars Organization, which will be a civic space. And the 4th is the Sandy Ridge Project, Phase 2. This is the second part of as you can guess by its name, Phase 2. And this will be 3.73 acres located at 8359 903 Old Oxford Road. They're hoping to provide about 132 affordable rental units whose income would be 70% or less of AMI. So the city has already allocated each of these projects needed a little under $5 million from the city to complete. The city, of course, I said we did not have that, but we have voted, I believe, to allocate $10 million. And so we are hoping that the county will match that on each development so that you're a partner. I know there was some confusion initially. But have y'all done that?
We're done.
Okay, thank you.
We're done.
Well, we have about almost 400 new units are coming. Well, thank you. See, that's how we work. See how smooth that went. I'll be all. Did y'all get that moment? All right. That's what you call work together. It's done. Thank you.
And if I can
Hallelujah. Praise
add
God.
thanks to Bertha and Claudia for working together and helping the city and the county to make this happen. So thank you all so much for the great work.
Thank y'all. See that? You didn't tell me that. No, it's done.
And who's
This weekend. Maybe that was one of the things that was supposed to be on the. Wow. So
and who said that government works slow?
you tell me that didn't work. Well, I'm done then, because that's done. Thank y'all. See, that's what we call a partnership.
Yeah, it's all about partnership, relationship, and what is it? A young person was asking me recently about government and being involved in politics, and what I told them is not about what you know. You can be the smartest person in the world and be the dumbest person about relationship in politics, because it's all about relationship. It's all about being able to get the deal done and understand where the person that you're talking to is coming from, and being able to find a place that you can both stand and then be in integrity in where you stand. If you can't do that, nobody cares about what you know. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, my sister. That's the way to do it.
Okay, we're good. All right.
That's 4 new housing, 4 all affordable housing, y'all. That is a great day. Over 400 units.
And you know,
My God.
And also, I just can't
Wow.
not say that this takes the coordination of
All of us.
our board members and our staff, because we can't get it done without you. So, thank you. And that's the last thing on our agenda. We've got time for other things that anyone that might want to bring up. Any other items, since we have a few more minutes? So it's just 10 o'clock. If there are other things that you might want to bring up, feel free to do that. And I'll go to Wendy. Wendy, you have something else that you want to bring up?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to follow up on the great news about us collaborating on the affordable housing units and on the fast-moving pace of sometimes, and that I know that we're going to have another opportunity to partner very soon. That will be coming before both of our boards related to permanent supportive housing. And I just wanted to lift that up because it's another, again, fast moving. As you noted, the government doesn't always move fast, but this is a fast moving opportunity, and really, really important that we remember that there are members of our community that it's more than just affordable housing. They need support. They need help with mental health and substance use. And that's what I'm on my way to Kansas to look at some other projects that are doing permanent supportive housing in our country. So anyway, I'm excited that there are going to be more opportunities for us to work together. And I know we have some more ARPA funding too that is not allocated. So I look forward to us keeping working together. Thanks.
Okay. Mayor has something else?
Yeah. You want me to go first? Let me show you how our community responds. So this came in from Derek Rhodes, who's probably watching us right now. Good morning. I was inspired by your conversation at today's joint city-county meeting regarding the coordination of summer opportunities for youth. Durham Success Summit would be happy to follow up on your call to action to nonprofits today, understanding the limits of our local government structure that Mayor O'Neill outlined. We would be honored to lead the critical roll call needed of other Black male youth-serving nonprofit community organizations, as well as lead the development of an online directory for summer opportunities. We have the capacity to lead the work with funding from our private sector partners. Our team would also be happy to lead marketing, and outreach efforts through our unique digital efforts that have enabled us to teach over 160 black male youth between 16 to 24 in Durham. We could have it accomplished by summer. Derek, if you're watching, please contact me, and we will go from there. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Wow. You have something else?
Yes, I was just going to follow up and add that our esteemed colleague, school board member Giovanni Lewis had shared kind of a joint Day of Remembrance request, just acknowledging all the loss that we've been experiencing in our community with our children, our youth. And she asked that on Monday, May 15th, that we hold a collaborative event of our three bodies, and I do want to make sure, it's an opportunity to talk about it. I did share that I would be willing to bring it forward with staff. I do believe there are a number of colleagues on my council who have said the same, and I hope that the county is also working on it as well. Absolutely. I understand the school board's already been discussing it, and so we'll just try to move forward towards this date of Monday, May 15th, and making sure that the proclamations are aligned.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Yeah, we'll have to get back with her for the board of county commissioners. She said she'd like to have two whereases from Kelly, and we'll be in, from county commissioners to be in touch with her to get that. All right. Anything else? Any comments from city attorney or city manager? No? Y'all good? Okay. Anything from the county attorney?
I will just say, I want the mayor to hold off on the celebration on affordable housing units. We will officially vote, the board will officially vote on them at our next regular session meeting, but we do have a consensus from commissioners.
I thought did I just jump ahead? Yeah. Sometimes I get a little anxious, y'all. Just like, let's go.
Well, we were hoping that you all will vote accordingly. Thank you.
That would be that slowness.
Yes.
So I just put the foot on the gas pedal. Sometimes it's just like, let's go. Okay. Anything else? Well, thank you. I don't know what the next date,
June 13th.
June 13th is up. June 13th is our next meeting? I'm not seeing y'all on my birthday. We're going to change that date. But somewhere around there. That's a holiday. So so thank you all. And if you have things that you think that the two boards need to discuss, just begin to put them on your list of things to do so that we can, if the things we need to hash out, we can do that. And not put them off. Sometimes we just. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody, for being here, and have a wonderful day. All right.
Thanks, everybody.